One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report and paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, do we have a crazy morning to get through this morning? Great to see everyone in the chat, by the way. Let's get it. All right, so we have a lot of things that are happening today in specific, as well as we have a lot of things that happened from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leading up to this current point. So we're going to be discussing a lot of that. Also, a little side note, this afternoon at noon Eastern time is when Trump will be doing a military briefing as well as discussing Iran and stuff like that. So that's going to happen at noon Eastern, which is, or 1 Eastern, and then that's noontime my time. But we're already off the live stream by an hour by then. So anyways, we'll be covering a little bit of that tomorrow. Iran war latest is what we got for you guys, as well as Artemis II, Moon, Flyby, and also it's we're about to set a record for the, I guess, the furthest we've been away from the Earth with humans before. And then top stories, of course. So let me go ahead and give you guys a chronological breakdown. Some things, we have to bring it all the way back to Friday afternoon, after we had already done the show and all that stuff. There were some developments that happened, as well as Saturday and Sunday. So we have 2 U.S. warplanes were shot down by Iran. Details on F-15 Eagle and the A-10 Warhog. As well as Southern California. We're going to bring it to the national side. Southern California, fire grows up to 3,500 acres, triggering mandatory evacuations. And that, I believe that happened over there in the Riverside area. Then we have airstrikes hit near Iranian nuclear facility after U.S. warplanes were shot down. Then we have Trump to Iran. As you guys know, he gave that final 48-hour notice. He said before all hell will rain down. Absolutely did say that. U.S. rescues Aviator shot down in Iran, which means the... I'll actually show you guys, if you guys are interested enough when we discuss it. We actually have a breakdown of how the jet was shot down, essentially, and then how the rescue mission went. And believe it or not, while they were in this special rescue mission, they ended up getting ambushed as well, and they shot down a helicopter. So then once they shot down that helicopter, that crew, because there was 2 helicopters and 1 major tanker or whatever, the helicopter went down, and then they went on the ground. They went running over to the other helicopter and then had to leave the scene. And then they had an airstrike come in and take that ambush out, and then they went back in and then got the guy. So it's kind of crazy. Then we also have Middle East latest as missing U.S. Air Force crew member rescued from Iran, like I just told you guys. And then Trump issues profanity-laced threat to Iran on Easter Sunday. And yes, he did. He put down a big F-bomb. And now, listen, we say fuck all the time on everybody does, but when it comes to a president, it's very rare to hear. It's not presidential, they say, when you when you start cursing like that. Iran intelligence chief killed, IDF says. And by the way, that came out just 2 hours ago. Iran intelligence chief has been killed by the IDF. Then we do have the update on Artemis II, astronauts to set new distance record from Earth. Pretty big deal, actually. And we have Steve Bannon wins at Supreme Court in contempt battle. So that's what we're looking at for our timeline this morning. So before we get all into the craziness, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get right into it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. Double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side, and hit that subscribe button, man. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, members only for Saturday morning. It's a great time. Now, speaking of a member, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as be on, have these lights on. So I very much appreciate you guys becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends where we discuss all of these craziness, because we only live stream for an hour, and then after the live stream, we like to all, of course, continue breaking news and that kind of stuff. So make sure you guys go in the video description down below, and that's where the invite link is. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, well, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You guys can donate to that, and I get 100% of the proceeds as well. And of course, I'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a super chat. So, all right, very much appreciate it. So real quick, we got Al Patterson coming in to start it off this morning. I very much appreciate the 5 gift memberships. You guys are sending them out this morning. I very much appreciate that. And we also have Sterling Wheel coming in and gifting out 5 memberships. Man, this is insane. I very much appreciate you guys. You both were able to help me, and as well as 10 others in the IWF, man. I very much appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of you guys in here. I always appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We got Mr. Al Patterson as well as Pops, Jimmy Mack in the building as well. Always appreciate you guys. We got Virginia Chaos, absolutely. And Cameron, good morning to you, kind sir. Great to see you. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Great to see you as well. We got Easy Frank and Steve Easy in the chat. My man, good morning, good morning. We're running our way down as fast as we possibly can, I promise you guys. We got Two Wheel Jesus as well. And Motobomb Virginia, my man, good morning. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. We got Wild Card as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. And yes, Sterling Wheel, great to see you. Artemis is bullshit, Bolt Gun says. Hey, man, I'm kind of indifferent with it. You know what I mean? We got Dylan Patterson in the building as well. We got Pumper. Very much appreciate you as well. Steve Easy coming in with the 27 months, saying 27 months IW strong. Yes, sir. It's a big deal right there. One of the longest standing members, Steve Easy. Very much appreciate that. And we got Mr. Al Patterson coming in and gifting out another 5. Holy fucking shit, man. I'm very blessed, man. So thank you very much for your guys' contributions and helping out the channel. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm not going to really discuss it too much other than what I'm going to say right here, and then we're going to leave it at that. Unfortunately, on a political level, I just lost my disability on Friday. So it's going to suck. It's just part of the deal, and they're just playing politics. And, of course, I've lawyered up the same lawyer that got me the original case. So anyway, it's going to be a struggle for a little bit until we win that case. So I very much appreciate your guys' contributions. So thank you for that. All right, let's go and get into the craziness this morning, man. We got a lot to get through this morning.
One of those big headlines continues to be
Why is it low?
Downed U.S. F-15 over Iran earlier today. The White House has been getting a briefing really all day today. President Trump has been in contact with his national security team. They have been over at the White House just within the last couple of
Yeah, it's all right, Jimmy Mack. It's just they're playing political games right now.
hours, learning that information through Fox News. I do now
What's
want
up,
to
Fidel?
bring
Good
in
morning.
our all-star panel right now to help
And Prez in the building. Shout out.
break down some of this big breaking news. So I want to bring in our guest right here, David Daptula. And
You know, I really don't need to hear their side of the equation on this because I want the images, and I'm going to show you guys the images that we do have here. Let's go ahead and just show you guys some images. And then I actually have a video explaining what happened here on this whole rescue mission. And I'll pull that up for you guys too.
Can close on
Let me get it.
So what I'd really like to do is put this mission in context, because it's a heck of a lot more complex than most people realize. Critical to the recovery effort today was the HC-130J Combat King II, and its job included coordinating the personnel recovery team as well as refueling the rescue helicopters. Then there were the dedicated combat rescue helicopters, the HH-60Ws, Jolly Green IIs. In addition to those,
well, those are some interesting pictures right there for sure. Let's go ahead and see if there's any other pictures during this. And yes, this is the province where that it was at right there along the border of Iraq and Iran, and that's where that whole thing happened. Let me see if we get any other images, and if we do, I'll show them to you. If not, then of course we will just go ahead and show you guys what I have. And it doesn't look like they do. All right, so we're going to skip that, and now I'm going to show you guys this. Let me go ahead and bring this up, and it actually explains how this whole thing kind of happened. Let me find it. Where is it? There it is.
How exactly did an F-15E Strike Eagle get hit while flying a routine mission? Just one of the nearly 13,000 combat sorties flown by the U.S. military. However,
what's up, Jack? We got Mr. Jack Talcott in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well, because I definitely know that we are. Great to see you, bro.
It was on this day that Iranian forces successfully targeted an American jet with a Russian-made missile. But there's one strict code in the U.S. military that overrides everything else. Nobody gets left behind.
Yeah, Cameron, it's just, it's a big fucking, it's a big group of people. It's a big collective. It's a big team. And we ain't on that team. We ain't on that circle. We're just not a part of them. So unfortunately, we're getting the treatment.
An A-10 Thunderbolt flew into the rescue, shredding an approaching Iranian convoy before they could reach the American pilot. But this aggressive maneuver came with a massive risk. Because the A-10 was flying at such a low altitude, Iranian forces armed with thousands of
What are you talking about, Nick? What are you talking about? I showed Fox explaining, or just showing, not even explaining, just showing what happened. And then now I'm showing you another video of exactly what happened. You need to get out of here with your bullshit. I'm just going to ban you.
A Chinese-made shoulder-fired
because this is not your first time doing this shit in my comment section, by the way. If you want me to respond to you, send me money.
It found its mark, crippling the A-10's engine. But this single incident triggered a massive chain reaction. When two rescue helicopters launched to recover the downed pilot, it flew
That right there was the ambush.
Into an ambush, taking heavy fire from a Soviet-era Zu-23 anti-aircraft gun. On the 3rd April 2026, the Zagros Mountains, Kermanshah province, near the Iran-Iraq border. This terrain is characterized by jagged peaks and deep, narrow valleys. It is a tactical nightmare for
What's up, Naomi? Good morning to you.
aviators, but provides excellent terrain masking to hide from long-range radar. However, it also allows enemy forces to set up devastating short-range anti-aircraft ambushes. But how did the U.S. lose an F-15E Strike Eagle, an A-10 Warthog, and nearly a combat search and rescue team helicopter, and a Reaper drone in a single night?
In a single night. This is the equipment that we had lost in a single night.
Well, this is how it started at 2:15.
And I believe we didn't lose all of them. I believe that one of them we were able to. No. He got away far enough, and then actually threw the plane into basically where the Strait of Hormuz is.
Hours. A flight of two F-15E Strike Eagles crosses the border at low altitude. A pilot and a weapons system officer were flying their target, a deeply buried command bunker. They used terrain-following radar to hide in the valleys, staying beneath the gaze of Iran's long-range Bavar 373 missile network. But what happens when they have to strike? To drop its GBU-28 bunker buster, the lead Strike Eagle has to pull up and move above the mountains.
Right, because it goes based off of height when you drop these bunker busters. Basically, kind of the higher the better.
This is breaking the radar horizon. In a gorge below, highly mobile, Tor M1's surface-to-air missile system is waiting. It achieves a lock, and two missiles leave the rails. The pilot dumps flares and pulls high GS. One missile is spoofed. But could they evade the second? Well, the second missile detonates on proximity, causing catastrophic hydraulic failure.
Now, believe it or not, where you guys saw those anti-whatever air missiles going out from the Iranian side. Believe it or not, it came from a Chinese, basically kind of like a Chinese version of a shoulder missile, whatever. So it's kind of crazy that a shoulder-mounted, anti-defense or whatever they call the fucking things. It's crazy that they were able to take down so much with those. And I believe they said that they were from China or something like that.
The crew ejects into the pitch black mountains, and the Sandy Protocol is...
Yo, Hardwire coming in with the 20 months, by the way. Much love, honor, and respect to Mike and all the family. I very much appreciate you, Hardwire. Thank you for the 20 months. Very much appreciate you. And Jimmy, Mac, there are two that are... one is a heat seeker and one is radar. So there's two different types of those.
Immediately activated. But this is the U.S. military, and they will move heaven on earth to rescue a fallen combat. At 2:45 hours in the morning, because the crash is near the border, A-10 Thunderbolt II operating nearby are diverted for resort, also called rescue escort. Down below, Iranian quick reaction forces are closing in on the downed airmen. The lead A-10 executes a low-level strafing run with its legendary 30mm Avenger cannon, neutralizing the convoy. But how did this aggressive maneuver come at a cost? The noise and tracers give away its position. As the A-10...
Real quick, we got Sterling coming in with the 420 saying, dumb broads get punted. Shit. Very much appreciate the 420, by the way, Sterling. Making it rain in the chat, man. Very much appreciate that.
10 banks hard, bleeding off airspeed. For context, Iran recently flooded the battlefield with these Chinese shoulder-fired missiles, weapons...
Chinese shoulder-fired missiles
that are essentially reverse-engineered clones of Russian Manpad. The Iranian soldier fires a Mossad-2 infrared guided missile. At this altitude...
No joke, it objectively was a badass mission of them saving that situation. Yeah, the rescue mission was insane.
Countermeasure.
You guys are going to see it here in a minute.
Deployed too late. The missile shreds the right turbofan engine. But can the Warthog's legendary...
Now, this is the one where he gets out of the area on one engine and then has to dump the plane out there by basically where the Strait of Hormuz is, like in the water.
Armor save it. Yes, the armor did save it from this missile launcher as it flew even with a damaged engine. Because of the armor, the pilot managed to point the dying jet toward a plateau and punches out. But just how many crash sites are we looking at? The F-15E crashed deep inside southwestern Iran. Specifically, local reports and verified wreckage photos placed the crash site in the rugged mountainous terrain of the Khojaly and Boyer Ahmad province.
That's right, and that's bordering right there on Iraq, by the way.
While the A-10 Warthog did not go down over the Iranian mainland. After taking heavy damage during the search and rescue escort mission, the pilot managed to navigate the crippled jet away from the mountains and towards safer airspace. The rugged battle-damaged A-10 eventually crashed in the southern waters of the Persian Gulf, specifically near the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep.
Now this at 3:15 hours. A dedicated combat search and rescue package launches.
Okay, this is now where it gets really interesting. This whole rescue mission, and this is the start of it right here.
These are highly trained rescue units built for this type of rescue mission. It includes an HC-130J Combat King.
Damn, Steve, I actually didn't know that part.
This acts as an airborne command center, followed by two HC-60 helicopters, call signs Pedro 11 and Pedro 12. They fly under the radar, topping off their fuel in midair to maximize loiter time. But will they make it into hostile territory undetected? Well, they push deep into the Zagros Mountains just as dawn approaches. 4:45 hours.
Now they're getting to the actual location. Now, they were prepared. They were ready because they knew that there was going to be a rescue mission. They knew it. So they waited, and they had a little spot, and they ambushed them.
Pedro 11 locates the A-10 pilot's inferred strobe. Pedro 12 circles above, providing overwatch with its 50 caliber machine guns. Pedro 11 flares for landing, and the Ps hit the dirt to secure the pilot.
What's up, Brother Straight? Good morning.
And this happened to hidden Iranian Zu-23. A Soviet-era anti-aircraft gun opens fire from a concealed hideout.
There it is.
It's an ambush. Heavy armor-piercing rounds tear through Pedro 12 as it orbits, resulting in severed transmission lines and an injured crew. The pilot wrestles the crippled chopper into a hard, controlled crash near Pedro 11. The rescue mission is now a fight for survival, and
Okay, now they're running to the last helicopter they got over here.
Pedro 11 is the only way home. Under heavy covering fire, the crew of the downed chopper sprints to the surviving bird. But how did they stop the enemy barrage?
Well, what they stopped is up here, this guy right up here, the like big command up here, they ordered an airstrike and then they took him out.
Then at 5-2 hours, the C-130 overhead coordinates an immediate strike. Two F-35 stealth fighter jet loitering high above in stealth overwatch drop precision munitions, silencing the anti-aircraft gun. With the A-10 pilot, the PJ, and the crash chopper's crew crammed inside, Pedro 11 is maxed out.
You know, I don't actually know the total answer to that, Tootie.
On weight.
Good to see you, by the way. Pablo,
but how
good
do
morning.
You fly an overloaded helicopter escape the Zagros mountain? This is how they do it. Pulling maximum power, the engines screaming, they barely clear the tree line and dive back into the valleys.
Now you got to remember they're way overweight at this point, and they're struggling for sure.
Racing for the border.
And they just took on some heavy fire too on that second helicopter.
In the morning, Pedro 11 crossed back into Iraqi airspace, battered, overloaded, but alive. As stated, no one gets left behind.
Right.
The F-15E crew is still missing in action, requiring a massive JSOC raid the following night.
So they're definitely going to go back.
If you don't want your phone and email...
Oh, man, we ain't doing no fucking ad. Hold on, let me get past this.
Assured by a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Cool.
Oh, wait, an F-35 was also hit during one of its mission sorties. To properly analyze this incident, you need to understand that there are two...
Yep, and what happened on that very, very specific incident that they just showed is where the actual missile itself, what it's doing is it explodes right before it actually hits the plane and actually brings all the shrapnel and fucks them up. It's another type of defense.
Properly analyze this incident, you need to understand that there are two distinct types of missiles. Radar-guided and heat-seeking.
Right.
The F-35 was designed to be practically invisible to
What's up, brother Glare? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
long-range radar, but it wasn't built to completely hide from heat-seeking missiles. So how exactly did Iran missile manage to bypass the stealth technology of the US F-35? Well, the secret lies in a major vulnerability that is its heat signature. Its geometry and radar-absorbent materials make its radar cross-section incredibly small.
And that's kind of the same thing with the B-2 stealth bomber does. All right, so let me go ahead and bring this up and see, because I want to get a very specific thing here. Let's go ahead and fast forward, because we got a lot to get through this morning.
Defenses. Although the U.S. has achieved near total air superiority, but the war is just entering its most dangerous stage. But here is the problem: Iran is still not out of the fight. If the U.S. owns the sky, why not just send in standard fighters? Because while Iran's main network is shattered, isolated surface-to-air batteries like the S-300 are still hiding in the shadows.
They're absolutely hiding in the shadows. They're underground where we don't know exactly where they are, as well as we actually have, or they have, I should say, Iran. They have where they can actually release those missiles, air, surface to air, whatever, ground to air, whatever they call that shit. They can launch that shit where they open up a little thing on the ground, launch them, and then close it back up. So they do have an advantage with that. For
an F-15 E-Strike Eagle, the legendary bomb truck of the Air Force, one lucky radar lock from a rogue missile is a death sentence. And in a high-stakes conflict, losing a crew and a multi-million-dollar jet to a surviving battery is a risk the Pentagon simply won't take. But how did the US and Israel manage to use F-35 jets to strike Iran while Iranian air defenses were still up and running?
Thank you for that, Steve.
To make this happen, they didn't just rely on local land bases. They brought two massive floating cities right to Iran's doorstep. Down in the Arabian Sea, you've got the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group bearing down on the south and east. And over in the eastern Mediterranean, the biggest, newest ship, USS Gerald R. Ford. While Israeli jets flew all the way across the Middle East to reach Iranian airspace, timing was absolutely critical. The moment those IDF jets reached their marks, the missiles were released. And that brings us to the most terrifying, complicated part of this entire operation, the synchronization. Military planners rely on a tactic called time on target. Look at this map. You have missiles firing from submarines, cruise missiles launching from escort ships, and massive payload drops from stealth bombers.
And that's United States only specific.
They're all deploying from completely different locations at entirely different times. But here is the genius of it. The US military machine was mathematically choreographed so everything impacted Keraj, Tehran, Qom, Kermanshah, and Isfahan at the exact same second the Israeli jets dropped their guided bombs. It was designed to be a total systemic shock and explodes at the same time. A move to collapse the regime instantly. When those munitions finally hit, it was pure shock and awe. But why did the Iranian air defenses fail to activate? Well, to put it simply, the US military operates in a completely different league. Using a highly advanced mix of electronic warfare and cyber operations, coordinated from space to the ground, the coalition was able...
By the way, we have over 240 people in here between both live streams. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you guys are on the normal stream. I very much appreciate it. Let's get to it.
To inject false data directly into Iranian radar screens. Top-tier Iranian air defense systems, like their homegrown Baver and their Russian-supplied batteries, were absolutely overwhelmed by this electronic assault. But to actually hunt them down, the US set a brilliant trap. They launched hundreds of ABM-160 MALDs, miniature air-launched decoys, to a panicked Iranian radar...
And those decoys, man, they show up like a whole bunch of jets, actually. It looks like a whole bunch of jets on the radar system from Iran's point of view.
Operator staring at a chaotic screen, these tiny drones look exactly like a massive squadron of A-15s or F-16s screaming toward the capital.
That's exactly right. So we have a lot of technology that they do not have. And funding, too, as well, obviously. We got Naomi coming in, by the way, for the 14 months saying, hit the like, you know the rules. That's facts. That's big facts. Thank you for the 14 months, Naomi. I very much appreciate that. It goes a long way right there.
With the door kicked wide open, fifth-generation stealth fighters, including both U.S. and Israeli F-35s with possible F-22 Raptors, sliced through the airspace...
And Brother Straight coming in with the 5 months saying, "Ord, I'm going to curry." Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's a different oh my God, but you know what I mean.
Completely undetected. Ultimately, the Iranian air defense network wasn't just suppressed. It was completely dismantled, at least for the time period. Because the Iranian do have a huge firepower. We make original...
Damn, and Blair coming in with the 17 months saying, Naomi trying to take shots. Sit down, youngin'. Shit. Taking shots.
Videos from scratch and animated by humans.
All right.
So please subscribe.
Let me go ahead and move on with our rest of our news, because at least I wanted to show you guys what was happening basically over the weekend, what happened there. So that's the update for Iran over the weekend in the United States. Now, we do have something that happened, I believe, on Friday afternoon, if not Saturday morning. I can't really remember. Southern California, unfortunately, went up in flames again, as it always does every year. I mean, it does multiple times a year, actually. But this is a big one. Southern California fire grows to 3,500 plus acres, triggering mandatory evacuations. Now, I do believe this happened in Riverside County. Let me go ahead and read and see what we've got here. It says, the Springs fire near Moreno Valley has surged to 3,500 acres, as it threatens thousands of homes in Riverside County. Oh, man. It says the containment is now at 5%. Now, I'm sure that's changed since this report. I'm sure that number has totally changed. But at the time of this report, it was only 5%. So.
Okay, so we've been keeping
and this is a very quick update.
Tabs on the wildfires burning in Southern California tonight. One in LA County, I believe, Acton, not too far away from Santa Clarita, and then another in Riverside County.
Real quick before we get to it, man, my man Virginia Chaos is sending in a little Cash App. I very much appreciate that, by the way. Let me go ahead and bring myself full. There we go. It says, puff, puff, pass, or a gallon of gas. We got you, Mike. Hey, man, I very much appreciate you, bro. I got one twisted up, ready to go. We're about to break that out right now. We're already at the halfway mark, and I haven't even started it yet. Damn.
Fox LA has been tracking them, too. Step in to the top of their 6 p.m. news.
Moreno Valley today, pushing evacuation orders as those strong Santa Ana winds drove the flames. The fire started right near Gilman Springs Road around 11 this morning and grew to some 3,500 acres quickly. Nick Garcia, he's live there in Moreno Valley in one of the neighborhoods that is under mandatory evacuations tonight. Looks like you are in the backyard or well beyond. Where are you, Nick?
That's right, Pablo. Change out the smoke alarm batteries.
We've moved out of that gated community. If you were watching our stream earlier, you know we were in a gated community. There it is there. We've moved. This road here is Via del Lago. And the reason we've moved is to give you a better look at the firefight right here. You can see flames. This is where the flames have been coming down from all day. Gilman's.
I have a question for this guy, though.
Why are you gay?
You're flaming.
Springs is back that way over the hill, so the fire has gradually moved closer and closer to this neighborhood here. But look at the fence, this wooden fence here.
Yeah, no kidding, SST. No
Lots
kidding.
of embers have gotten into it. You see this smoldering right there. Inside, very hot. And once that opens up, the flames can really take off and hit this dry brush here. That's why these fire crews here are spraying the wood down, trying.
Yeah, Lucy likes to be involved once in a while. She was a little spunky this morning, I gotta be honest. She was being mischievous, as well as trying to get on my last nerves. Sometimes she likes to show out.
To get as many embers out as they possibly can. Very frightening for the neighborhood that's just right there. You see all this smoke heading towards those houses. We spoke with some people earlier as they were being evacuated. This is a mandatory evacuation order area. We'll let you listen to what they had to say as they were on their way out.
Looking at the fire and the smoke, it's pretty daunting. How bad it's going to get? Is it going to come over the hill? Will my house be here when I get back?
Where are you headed?
Right now, we're not sure. We're just going to try to get out of harm's way.
Well, I'll be honest. A lot of people in the area dealing with. It's kind of like people over there in Florida on the East Coast. They deal with a whole bunch of hurricanes and shit, and they'll tell you, "Hey, you need to evacuate." Blah blah blah. And there's a lot of people that just don't. They just don't evacuate. They don't leave. Now, I would always advise, if they tell you guys evacuate the situation, you should evacuate. But there's a lot of people that don't. And I understand that thinking process. It's like, well, all my shit's here. This is my shit. I'm going to protect it. I do get that. But when they tell you you need to go, you need to go. We got Yo Mama in the house. Great to see you in the chat, bro. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. See what they're going to say here.
Back out here live, you're looking at the firefighters. Get some water onto this fence here. They're trying to get those embers out, trying to get the heat out of this fence so it doesn't pose a bigger risk than it already is right now. So you're seeing them hit it with water, hit it with the axes trying to break it up.
Oh, shit. Speaking of the devil, we got Straight sending in $1 saying, Stephen Glare, eat curry hole. Shit.
Bruh.
I very much appreciate the buck, man.
Farther down, you can see that's why they're trying to get into it. Look at
What's
that
up, Bob?
fence
Good morning.
On fire. The flames coming out of the fence post there. Very dangerous because you've got all this dry brush. And look, you see that pink retardant? It's right there. It didn't stop the flames from jumping. And because it's so windy, the flames have been able to jump.
Well, unfortunately, the wind, the Santa Ana winds in particular over there, they will, they'll go from one side of, like, let's say PCH, right? It'll go and be on fire on one side, and then there's the whole street, the highway, and then sometimes it's blowing so hard that the flames will literally jump over the highway and start a fire on the other side, which is incredible.
Some of those retardant lines. The retardant Phos-Chek really helpful in protecting these houses, but when you have windy conditions like this, those flames were able to jump over it.
And just to clarify, still no structure.
That is so funny, Straight. Retardant. Yeah, you knew what he said.
Burned.
Thankfully, no structures burnt, but there are evacuation orders.
Well, that's really good that there's no structures that have been burnt by this time.
Wow. Those orders because these flames are getting close.
All right, Nick Garcia, live for us tonight in Moreno.
And Yo Mama, no, I did not see that, by the way. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We've got a lot to get through, as you guys know. Airstrikes hit near Iranian nuclear facility after U.S. warplanes were shot down. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll get a little bit of the inside here. It's a very quick
News is
update.
reporting that there has been a missile strike in central Israel. This is a live look there out of Tel Aviv this morning. Now, Fox's Trey Yingst has been sharing to social media. He says cluster munition, many smaller explosions across the center of Tel Aviv. And he also says this: more ballistic missile launches detected, sirens expected soon in central Israel, as once again, you are taking that live look there.
Dude, cilantro absolutely does suck. It tastes like soap to me.
Out of Tel Aviv. Now, I do want to transition to some other news here out of the Middle East. We brought this to you just a short time ago. New this morning, an Iranian nuclear facility has been struck for the fourth time. So
for the fourth time, holy shit. Real quick, we got extra surprise. Great to see you, bro.
The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran said in a social media post today that apart from killing a guard, the airstrike also damaged a support building. The International Atomic Energy Agency posted on social media that, quote, no increase.
What's up, brother Dean? We got Dean Savage in the building, as well as Miss Lotus. Great to see you guys in the chat, by the way. Always appreciate your guys' engagement and hanging out with us.
And radiation levels was reported following the strike. The nuclear power plant uses low-enriched uranium from Russia, along with Russian technicians, to supply about 1,000 megawatts of power for Iran. Its pressurized water reactor can power hundreds of thousands of homes and other businesses and industries, but it contributes only 1% to 2% of Iran's total power needs. Iran has been trying to expand the facility to multiple reactors. In 2019, it began a project that ultimately plans to add 2 additional reactors to the site, each adding another 1,000 megawatts apiece. We also heard from the Iranian foreign minister this morning on social media that radioactive fallout from further attacks on the nuclear power plant would have disastrous repercussions in regional capitals, not Tehran. He accused Western governments of remaining silent regarding repeated attacks on the plant located some 465 miles south of Iran's capital. So we wanted to share that news here with you. We also
It's a foreign minister, by the way.
Continue to follow this story that we first brought to you just yesterday.
Now, we do, I mean, not to, jump ahead, but I'm going to jump ahead and let you guys know that today, just a couple of hours ago, Iran intelligence chief has been killed, the IDF says. So stick around. We got a lot to get through before we get to that. But nonetheless, you guys at least see what's happening here. We're going to go ahead and move on into what Trump had said to Iran on the 48 hours before all hell will rain down, he says. And so the 48 hours is theoretically up on Tuesday. So tomorrow, meaning tomorrow. So anyways, you know what we haven't done either? We haven't embraced our fuck-ups yet. We need to embrace our
beat yourself up over.
If that thing just fucked up right there, let me see if it'll
beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. All right, here we go. Let's go and bring this up. 3, 2, 1.
And right now, I do want to start by getting to the latest coming in here from Operation Epic Fury. President Trump...
What's up, Seymour Cannabis? Good morning.
...just issuing a final warning to Iran, saying that the Iranian regime has 2 days left to make a deal or, quote, all hell will rain down. The president posting on Truth Social within the last hour saying this right there on your screen. Again, remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal?
Yes, that is correct, Steve Easy. Let's get the likes up, man. I very much appreciate it. You guys don't have to like the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So thank you guys.
Or open up the Hormuz Strait. Time is running out. 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God, President Donald J. Trump. Rather than traveling to Mar-a-Lago, President Trump has actually remained at the White House this weekend, and we are hearing that he does have meetings that are getting underway throughout the day. Now, today does mark 5 weeks since the U.S. launched its mission against the Iranian regime alongside Israel. And I do want to pop up some of these photos right here that are now coming into our newsroom, as we know that the search continues for a crew member who was on board a U.S. military aircraft shot down Friday over a mountainous region of central Iran. Fox
Now,
News
I hadn't seen these pictures. That's why I wanted to just at least see these pictures
reporting
real
this
quick.
was an F-15E fighter jet and that one of the pilots was rescued, but a search and rescue operation was immediately launched and still underway for that second pilot.
And I already showed you guys the rescue mission over there at the top of the hour. So if you guys are interested at that, wait around till we finish and then go all the way back in the beginning and I show a breakdown of what exactly happened on that rescue mission.
Iranian state media putting out a message urging civilians in the area to look for and capture the pilot in exchange for a, quote, precious prize. Iranian state media also claiming that a U.S. A-10 Warthog crashed near the Strait of...
Right, and we already explained all of that so let's go ahead and see if we get anything else out of this. We don't need to hear any type of other speculation or anything. We got Marco Rubio saying something here. Let's go ahead and see what he's got to say.
Let's pop this up on your screen. It's actually just coming in here from Secretary Marco Rubio, Secretary of State for the U.S. As he says, until recently, Hamadeh Soleimani Asfar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the United States. Asfar is the niece of deceased Iranian Major General Soleimani. She is also an outspoken supporter of the Iranian regime who celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the Great Satan. This week, I terminated both Asfar and her daughter's legal status, and they are now in ICE custody pending removal from the United States. The Trump administration will not allow our country to become a home for foreign nationals who support anti-American terrorist regimes. What does something like that...
Coming from Marco Rubio, and we don't need to hear this guy's breakdown of what that means. We're going to move on. U.S. rescues Aviator shot down in Iran. I already showed you guys the breakdown of that, but let's go ahead and see what they were reporting. We got this
Today,
up
we
here.
do want to start, though, with
it's fairly quick,
some
too.
breaking news and developments coming out of the Middle East. We're now hearing that a U.S. service member was rescued after the fighter jet that they were in was shut down over Iran. Taking a look here at a social media post courtesy of the White House, who also included a screenshot of a post from President Trump.
From Trump. Yeah, so Trump says this.
Social. It says this: "We got him." By fellow Americans, over the past several hours, the United States military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history for one of our incredible crew member officers.
I gotta give it to them. That rescue mission was fucking hardcore, and it is badass. And it's amazing that, you know, the ideology of no man left behind, you know, and that's exactly how the United States military operates.
Who also happens to be a highly respected colonel, and who I am thrilled to let you know is now safe and sound. This brave warrior was...
Man, Chile always sounds good.
...behind enemy lines in the treacherous mountains of Iran, being hunted down by our enemies, who were getting closer and closer by the hour, but was never truly alone because his commander-in-chief, Secretary of War, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and fellow warfighters were monitoring his location 24 hours a day and diligently planning for his rescue. At my...
You be safe out there, Virginia Chaos. Always appreciate you.
...direction, the U.S. military sent dozens of aircraft armed with the most lethal weapons in the world to retrieve him. He sustained injuries, but he will be just fine. This miraculous search and rescue operation comes in addition to a successful rescue of another brave pilot yesterday, which we did not confirm because we did not want to jeopardize our second rescue operation. This is the first time in military memory that 2 U.S. pilots have been rescued separately deep in enemy territory. We will never leave an American warfighter behind. The fact that we were able to pull off both of these operations without a single American killed or even wounded just proves once again that we have achieved overwhelming air dominance and superiority over the Iranian skies. This is a moment that all Americans, Republican, Democrat, and everyone else should be proud of and united around. We truly have the best, most professional, and lethal military in the history of the world. God bless America. God bless our troops. And happy Easter to you all. I also...
Pretty incredible. Looks like there's a strike that happened fairly recent. Let's see if this is over there in Beirut, Lebanon. That's usually when they pan over. It looks, with this kind of look, it usually is Beirut.
Read a little bit more background on that U.S. service member that was just rescued. The Associated Press writing...
No, so they're just going to talk about the rescue. All right, so I can almost guarantee this view is Beirut, Lebanon, and seeing... the result of an Israeli airstrike. All right, we're going to move on. Middle East latest, missing U.S. Air Force crew member rescued from Iran. As you guys already know, we already basically covered all that, so we're going to move on from that. Trump issues profanity-laced threat to Iran on Easter Sunday. As you guys know, he says, open up the fucking strait. you crazy bastards, or some shit like that. So we're going to find out what he says here.
All right, welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Let's continue to discuss what's going on in Iran. As early on Easter morning, President Trump sent out a series of social media posts, including an expletive-laden threat to Iran, potentially talking about strikes on infrastructure if they do not open the Strait of Hormuz. And this was the
and if that goes into that infrastructure, such as bridges, any type of oil or resources in that regard, that's when we escalate this war to that next level. And I really, really hope that he doesn't do it. I really hope he does. He's already taken out. Trump has already taken out one of the largest bridges out there in Tehran and in Iran, by the way. So I really hope that doesn't continue.
Post here from Truth Social from the president saying Tuesday will be...
What's up, Poser Punk? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
Power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing strait, talking about the Strait of Hormuz. And he moved the deadline back to about 8
you be safe out there, Naomi. We always appreciate you as well.
p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night Eastern time. That is now potentially the deadline for this, the ultimatum for Iran.
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning. And this is the official deadline right here. Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern is the quote-unquote deadline. And the time is going to run out because they're not negotiating. And, then we're going to end up having to save face because we gave a deadline. You didn't meet it. Now we have to go fuck you up. Unfortunately, that's the way this is going to go. I'm not talking about what ought be. I'm talking about what is, unfortunately.
Let's be joined right now by research analyst at the FDD, Ahmad Sharawi. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And it feels like we're on the brink of escalation once again with these new threats from President Trump. What does that signal to you?
First of all, thank you for having me. Of course, I mean, President Trump has extended the deadline last week to April 6th for Iran to negotiate and to open the Strait of Hormuz. Until now, we have no indication that the Iranians are doing so or are planning on doing so.
Exactly, and that's what I was just telling you. Let's see if there's the actual post again, if they bring it up again, so that I can actually read it out loud because I didn't actually pause on it. Well, let me go ahead and bring it back up. It says right here, Tuesday will be the power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. Oh, shit.
Iran, there will be nothing like...
So, pretty fucking crazy shit going on here. Now, we already know that's basically what I wanted to present and just show that factually that happened. Now, here's another thing that happened this morning, just 3 hours ago. Iran intelligence chief killed, IDF says. So let's go ahead and bring that up as well, and we'll discuss it briefly. As you know, we have not done the money part yet. So let's go ahead and...
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
And that's actual factuals, by the way.
Denied.
All right, here we go.
Thank you all for staying with us here at Live Now from Fox as we are taking a live look at the Capitol building over in Washington, D.C. I want to take us out quickly to a live image that we have at the White House over in Washington, D.C. Coming up today, 1 p.m. Eastern time, President Trump is set to provide an update on the war in Iran. This was posted via the White House over the weekend, in which the president said he would host a news conference also featuring several military members.
No kidding, Steve Easy. And, you know, I really do appreciate that he's willing to do those kind of things. There are qualities of Trump that I do like. There's a lot of things that he's doing right now that I disagree with, of course, but there are some things that he does that I do like, and that's one of them. You know, that's not very quote-unquote presidential, but he don't give a fuck.
And at the same time, I do want to focus on those latest developments coming out of the Middle East as I bring us out to this. A live image that we have over at the Strait of Hormuz. This is courtesy of marine traffic, and it just shows some of the traffic in those vessels that are still caught there in that strait and trying to make their way through. The Associated Press saying this.
What's up, Chrono? Good morning to you, by the way. Great to see you in the chat.
Some of the major moments and updates from throughout the day today. The head of intelligence for Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard was killed. That's according to Iranian state media. Now, Israel claimed the killing on Monday, so earlier today. The Israeli defense minister said this, quote, Iran's leaders live with a sense of being targeted. We will continue to hunt them down one by one. Also, Israel and the United States carried out a wave of attacks on Iran throughout this Monday, killing more than 25 people. Iran responded with missile fire on Israel and its Gulf Arab neighbors. And then also President Trump.
And that was a bit, they're going to be definitely attacking and continuing to attack our Gulf allies, being that our bases are there. Right.
Has set a deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That deadline is looming and does continue up until tomorrow evening. So that's Tuesday. President Trump gave Tehran a deadline that expires on Monday night, at least, to say.
What's up, chatting with Stacks? Good morning to you, by the way. Good morning.
If no deal was reached to reopen the strait, the U.S. would hit Iran's power plants and other infrastructure targets and set the country back to the Stone Ages. That was a direct quote from the president. Now, following that threat in which he posted on his Truth social media platform, Iran's paramilitary speaker called the threats of targeting Iran's infrastructure, quote, reckless. I also want to bring us out to this, a live image that we have over in Tel Aviv, Israel, because, of course, we know that the U.S. and Israel are conducting those joint strikes against Iran, but also.
How could we not know that?
So in other parts of the Middle East, including in Lebanon. At the same time, Egyptian, Pakistani, and Turkish mediators have sent Iran and the U.S. a proposal calling for a 45-day ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz to give time to find a way to end the war. That's according to two Middle Eastern officials and what they have told to the Associated Press. Iran and the U.S. have not responded to the proposal, which was sent late Sunday night to both Iranian Foreign Minister and the U.S. Middle Eastern envoy Steve Witkoff. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the private negotiations. We also have live images coming out of Beirut in Lebanon, another area in which we have seen a lot of activity happening throughout.
Well, just earlier we saw that there was a Israeli strike that had happened, and they showed the rising smoke and stuff. Let's go see a little bit of the damages they got
That
here.
happened over in Haifa in Israel. Take a look at this.
Okay, this is in Haifa, Israel, which is a very dense city / kibbutz, I think. Anyways, over there in Israel.
Your screen. As we know that cleanup efforts.
This is an Iranian missile that made it through the Iron Dome.
Are underway at this time, and we do also know that the Israel Defense Forces did post a statement on this missile strike to their social media platform on X. I'd like to play out some of their remarks next.
I'm standing here in Haifa. Behind me, you can see the destruction site. Earlier this evening, a missile that was launched from Iran hit this site, a building in the middle of the city of Haifa. In this building, right at these moments, there are 4 people captured, missing. Other than these people, many others injured, and we needed to evacuate them to hospitals. Once again, the Iranian regime aims its missiles to civilian target, to the civilian population of the state of Israel. And here, again, we have a major destruction site, and you can see serious damage here behind me. The Israeli public is resilient. The IDF keeps on fighting and defending the state of Israel.
And that was a short social media post courtesy of the IDF. They posted it again to their social media platform on X. Fox News correspondent Trey Yanks also posting this.
Hey, Dean, quick question. Is Haifa considered a quote-unquote city, or is it considered a kibbutz? Let me know.
Regarding that missile strike, he says 4 bodies recovered from the ballistic missile impact site in Haifa, Israel. Still a lot to discuss, a lot of developments to get to this morning, particularly when it comes to negotiations between.
What's up, Scramble North? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
The U.S. and Iran, now that we know that President Trump has given a deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I want to bring into the conversation now Jonathan Sayed. He is an Iran program research analyst at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Jonathan, good morning.
A kibbutz is considered a neighborhood, basically. And what I was asking is, is everything a kibbutz over there, or is there cities and like neighborhoods that are considered kibbutz? You said right here, it's a major city in the north. Yes, exactly. And they usually they get a lot of hell from the northern neighbors right there in Beirut, Lebanon, essentially, over there in Lebanon. Hezbollah will, at the same time, launch missiles from over there and hit them, right? Because they're neighbors.
Hi, it's great to be with you.
Part of the axis of resistance.
Again.
Always good to have you. All right, so let's start with this. Some major news from earlier today. Reports are saying that Iran and the U.S., they have received a draft proposal to get a ceasefire underway for at least the next 45 days to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and to hopefully end the war. Jonathan, what do we know about some of the major points in that proposal? And really, what points would need to be there to get both sides to agree to that ceasefire?
I think the main question on everyone's minds, of course, a lot of us are relying on leaked information, but the main question is, how far is the demand going from the American side? Are they using this as an opportunity to build on past successes and actually demand more than just a straight opening, go after some of the enriched uranium that's buried underground? Or is Trump going to simply limit this to a short-time agreement, just an really a MOI of understanding on how we can really open up the strait? That's the real question here. But the more important angle here is the fact that unlike what Washington has noted, that there's already been regime change in Tehran, we have not seen behavior change from the Islamic Republic leaders currently, the ones that are leading the negotiations. Of course, they've been shielded from...
Yeah, but there hasn't really been any negotiations. That's the whole thing. Like, there is no negotiations.
Potential Israeli assassinations. That said, that is not a guarantee forever. If they fail to really reach an agreement, I can imagine the president not only moving forward with his threats against critical Iranian infrastructure, but also further leadership decapitation and genuinely disrupt the command structure of the regime.
Jonathan, I would be remiss if I did not showcase this social media post that the president posted over the weekend. I do want to say it's a bit colorful.
Open up the fucking strait, he said.
Big graphic and some posts here.
You crazy bastards.
He posted this via Truth Social. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the expletive strait.
Expletive strait? Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, so you will be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. This motherfucker. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward here and see if we get any other... Yes, here it is. This is what I was looking for. Boom. This is what I was looking for in particular.
Or during an ongoing conflict.
Jonathan, we have another major development from early this morning. Taking a look at a social media post from the Israel Defense Forces, eliminated, and they're talking about the fact that the head of the intelligence for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard was killed. What is the most significant impact from this latest killing of this major general?
The main impact is internal. Looking at Israeli assassination waves throughout the past 5 weeks, there's been two parallel pillars, but one has been stronger than the other. Of course, one focus has been taking out the command structure, missile, command people, figures that are either...
What's up, GEG, by the way? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
...tasked with developing grand strategy of regime defiance or somehow coordinating the different armed forces factions. Now, parallel to that, which has been more significant, is the internal security structure. So individuals that are involved in repressing protesters, killing unarmed Iranians, or somehow terrorizing the masses of the population to deter them from taking to the street. And that's what this individual is. So being of course, the intel command of the RGC, one of his main responsibilities is actually surveilling dissidents inside and, working behind the scenes to ensure that the average Iranian has no hope and is afraid of taking to the street. That's their primary job. And of course, the RGC being a brutal instrument of torturing the Iranians and dissidents, this is a devastating blow. But the grand strategic agenda by Israel here is to, at least from what it seems, is to eliminate the top leadership, so the commanders of key forces, and then to go after mid-level commander, brigade leaders, things of that nature, and inform them that time is not on their side. Should they not somehow work with Israel or with the Iranian dissidents, they'll also...
Well, that IRGC is specifically set up so if one part of the country goes down, that they can still operate. It's a hit-back retaliation that they know that they're going to get hit, and so they know if I die, I need you guys to be able to strike right away, and you guys do your thing. Unfortunately, a lot of times with leaders in these kind of situations, they usually kind of keep very strong people around them instead of spreading them out. You know what I mean? And they take out the head people of all the departments or whatever, and then now they don't know what to do. They don't have any type of chain of command set up for it. Now they're scrambling, figuring out who's going to be doing what. It's a big mess. Well, Iran plans this out. Like, okay, if this person gets taken out, then this province was going to go ahead and attack, and then this province is going to go ahead and attack from over here. Like, they have it set up. They are a bit unique in that regard.
To be eliminated. So that's the strategy there.
And the reason why that even happened is because of the invasion of Iraq. That's the reason why I mean, they literally watched how that whole regime went toppling down, and they said that they were not going to have that problem.
of thousands of Iranian armed personnel left. So it's not realistic to expect all of them to be killed during this war. I think the idea is to either have them defect through PSYOPs or arm the Iranian populace so they can define their own destiny and actually counter whatever is repressing them the most, which is this armed body of the RGC and military.
We're taking a live look over in Tel Aviv, Israel. Again, Israel's the one that is claiming responsibility for that latest killing. And there's a couple of more social media posts that I want to get your reaction from, Jonathan. And these next couple of posts have to do with Kurdish forces. It's something that we talked about when this war first broke out several weeks ago. Fox News correspondent Trey Ying says this, and he posted this over the weekend. The United States sent guns to the Iranian protesters through the Kurds. President Trump
shit, real quick. We got some dues coming in, by the way. We got Tiffany Lance coming in saying, dues for Lee and I. Well, I very much appreciate that over there on the Venmo making it rain. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Dues are paid for Lee and Tiffany.
Fox News, quote, we sent guns to the protesters, a lot of them, and I think the Kurds took the guns. Now, some Kurdish factions also responded, and Trey has another social media post. He says this, they responding to the remarks from President Trump, quote, we did not receive any weapons during the time of demonstrations in Iran. Fox also reached out to additional Kurdish parties for comment. We're waiting to hear on that. So the question with this, what kind of moves are we seeing from Kurdish forces, Jonathan, and what do we know about potential communication between the Kurds and the U.S.?
There are so many moving parts with the Kurdish developments that it's really hard to narrow down. But the overall image here was that United States and Israel were somehow entertaining, deploying, or at least assisting Iranian and Iraqi Kurdish faction. But what ended up happening, at least looking at online reporting, indicates that the Kurds did not receive enough reassurances that should they launch a ground operation against the Islamic Republic, they will receive sufficient air support or just military backing as a whole. Because they saw what happened in Syria, they were afraid that if they were to attack the regime and not be fully backed, the regime stays in power, and that is horrible news for them. So that's one guarantee they did not get. On the other hand, the situation would be really volatile. Looking at the Middle East, the idea of arming insurgent groups and separatist groups and sometimes terror groups against one another has not worked out long term. The idea
it definitely has not worked out long term.
Is that you should work with a country's national identities to get systemic change, as opposed to trying to appeal to some sort of sectarian or ethnocentric grievances, in this case being the Kurds. Further indication as to why it would not be the best idea to somehow arm separatist groups. So again, that's all the moving parts with the Kurdish problem. But that said, these groups have been instrumental. They've smuggled in Starlink devices. It's not really surprising that there are corrupt elements, because ultimately some of them are criminal networks. They're working in the shadows. Once you do that, there's no checks or balances on any operations that are being carried out. So it's not surprising that they're keeping some. I think the real question on everyone's mind is, did they keep all the weapons? Did they supply some? And the key term here is urban areas, center of Iran. So of course you have separatist movements and you have tribes and you have different armed factions by Iran's borders, but those are not where the major cities are. Major cities, urban centers are in the center of the country, and that's going to be instrumental if we're going to have systemic change. I'm thinking at least 10 cities.
Well, and you gotta go through all the provinces. I mean, really, I forget how many there are where the IRGC is set up the way that they are. I think it's like 30 different factions of it. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to get a little bit of an update on this Artemis II astronauts to set the new distant record from Earth. We're going to quickly just, get a little bit of information, skip around, and get some images, and then we've got to get to our last story. We're already on overtime right now, so make sure you guys hit the like button, by the way. Very much appreciate your guys' engagement. You guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here, so thank you.
Next hour, 7:55 here on the East Coast, 4:55 on the West Coast. My name is Coral Lahara, and let's talk about some more of the major stories that we have throughout the day today. First, a social media post courtesy of NASA, because we are...
Be safe out there, Brother Steve. We'll see you on the flip side.
Still tracking everything having to do with the Artemis II mission toward the moon, at least. It says this: we're going farther than ever before. Today, the Artemis II crew will break the record for how far humans have traveled from Earth as they fly around the far side of the moon. I also want to bring up this. It's a schedule and a timeline, so to speak, of this Artemis II flyby later on today. And also we have some live images here, live or playback, not entirely sure, but these images are courtesy of NASA because they're tracking everything having to do with this mission as a whole. So there on the left-hand side, you see that at 9:50 a.m. Eastern Time, Artemis II crew wakes up. 1 p.m. Eastern Time, NASA begins coverage of that flyby. We will take it here, so you can tune in to Live Now if you want to watch it in full.
That's definitely interesting. So they've got a whole timeline of what they'll be showing here. Now, okay, cool. We don't really need to hear what this lady has to say. These 4 astronauts are currently on a mission to fly around the moon, and soon they'll break the record for how far humans have traveled from Earth. This is the Artemis II crew, by the way. It almost looks like an AI picture, almost. It's really refined. Okay, let's go ahead and see a little bit of movement here.
Timeline kind of look like?
So it's on a free return trajectory. So the whole point of that trajectory is, yes, using the moon's gravity to slingshot them back around. So the 7-hour observation period sounds like a really long time, and it is. But, you know, our 3 American astronauts have done, you know, spacewalks that have been 8 hours. So them observing this has within a 7-hour period is probably like a cakewalk to them. Jeremy Hansen, who is our Canadian astronaut on board, has not done a spacewalk.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, why is there a Canadian flag up there? Isn't this like an American mission, NASA? You know what I mean? But yeah, they just confirmed that.
But he is an accomplished fighter pilot, so I feel that it's going to be just fine with them you know, observing the moon during that 7-hour period. But yeah, it's really just going to be they're already on their way, right? That's what the trajectory means. That's what a free return trajectory means, is they're going to be using the gravity to swing around. And yeah, you know, they're already on their way. I'm really excited to see the observation. I'm super excited, like I've said before, about the science that is going to come out of this.
I think that dude was just brushing his teeth with that thing, that long cord. I think that's what he was doing over there. All right, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else off this. This is a little bit of the timeline they have here. And we already showed that timeline, but this is the actual picture that they posted. All right, let's go ahead and move on into our very last story here. Very, very, very quick updates, just like a minute and a half. Steve Bannon wins at Supreme Court in contempt battle. And while I present this, I'm going to look up who's live right now, who we can raid. So stick around for that as well.
Let's go ahead and hit this breaking news here one more time. This is, again, from the Associated Press saying this: Steve Bannon wins a Supreme Court order likely to lead to the dismissal of his contempt of Congress conviction. And this goes all the way back to right after the January 6th attacks in 2020 at the United States Capitol. Bannon was a longtime ally of President Trump. He was subpoenaed by the January 6th committee, the Democrat-led January 6th committee that was investigating the events of January 6th. He was accused of defying a subpoena and then was eventually held in contempt of Congress. And then a jury found him guilty in contempt of Congress. And that led to a 4-month prison term, as well as a fine that happened in 2022, I believe. Now, this dismissal would largely be symbolic. Bannon served that 4-month prison term, as I just mentioned, after a jury convicted him of contempt of Congress in 2022. A federal appeals court in Washington had upheld the conviction, but it looks like the Trump DOJ has been pushing for this case to be thrown out. And from what I understand is now that the Supreme Court is siding with Bannon in this case, it looks like it is all the more likely that that case will, in fact, be thrown out.
Wow. That's a big deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and raid our buddy Sick Bastard. He's live right now. So listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. Obviously, I know this is cliche and I say this all the time, but I really do mean it. I'm very appreciative of being able to do this Monday through Friday. And of course, Saturday morning for members only. I'm very blessed to be able to hang out with you guys and do this and present facts, man. Thank you all very much for being here. Hitting that like button on the way out or the way in when you guys did come in. I very much appreciate that. And stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Sick Bastard. So let them know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Until tomorrow morning, God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on 2 wheels ready to claim his throne. And the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die.
shit, Papa Penguin. Thank you for the 27 months, bro. Very much appreciate that. I'm sorry I missed it.